And today we have a very special guest, Charles Gates. Well, he is John Bowling's guest, but because John is not here, I got the privilege to introduce him. It feels like winning $1 million lottery. Let me give Charles a proper introduction here. Our guest speaker today, Charles Gates, joined Toastmasters in 2006 to become a better orator. He remains remains Toastmaster to encourage others to become masters of the spoken word. Over the past 15 years, his Toastmaster experience has led to a plethora of leadership opportunities, including podcast, radio, and television appearances, and speaking in front of live and virtual audience worldwide. He was a recipient of the prestigious Toastmaster Presidential Citation Award in 2020. And most recently, he was featured as a panelist at the 2021 Toastmaster International Convention. Please help me welcome distinguished Toastmasters Charles Gates as he challenges you to live your purpose. Let's welcome Charles Gates.
October 30th, 2014. It was a cold Thursday night. Tim Blackman, not quite as cold as Russia, but it was a cold night in Virginia, USA. A young doctor walks into our Toastmasters meeting. Her name is Regina Davis. She's a prestigious, well-known physician throughout the entire area. But Regina came to us because she had a problem. Her problem was not with her patients. It was not with her colleagues. It was not explaining diagnosis in terms of her patients. It was speaking to 4 or more people. 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, no problem. Bada bing, bada boom. But 4 or more, Regina's palms would sweat, her hands would shake. She could not do it. She came to us for help. Toastmasters, I need your help. I want to do lectures. I want to teach my colleagues. My knowledge, my vast 25 plus years experience in the medical profession, but I can't do it. I'm too fearful. Can you help me? Being the dutiful Toastmasters that we are and were back in 2014, our answer, of course, was, of course, Regina, we can help you. Because you see, Regina knew what her purpose was, but she was too fearful to take the necessary steps to fulfill that purpose. What about you? I did a speech last night in District 29, which is in the DC area, Northern Virginia area. And I asked the participants there to put in the chat if they knew their purpose. Their attendees were 100 plus people, and a good 60 people responded. And I had the person reading the chats to read some of those responses out loud. 100% of the respondents that were read last night responded saying that they not only knew their purpose, but that their purpose was servant leadership. They wanted to help people. In essence, that's not why they joined Toastmasters, but along the journey, they realized that servant leadership was what they wanted to do. They wanted to take the benefits from this Toastmaster experience and use it to help others, whether it was to gain financial literacy, whether it was to gain reading capacity or reading literacy, or simply to help the elderly get around town. Servant leadership was that driving force in 100% of the respondents. Not everyone responded, which told us that some of the people there did not know their purpose. But what about you? Maybe you know your purpose, maybe you don't. But if you do know your purpose, good for you. And I'm hoping you're living that purpose. But if you don't know what your purpose is, I want to give you 3 tips to help you find and live your purpose. Number 1 is to find out why. Why do you exist? What is your purpose for being here on this earth? What is your legacy? What do you hope to accomplish in this one life we all live? I graduated high school in 1979 out of Newark, New Jersey, in the USA. A friend of mine coming up through school was named George. George coming up in high school, George didn't party, George didn't chase girls, George didn't do the things that we young, energetic, testosterone-filled young boys used to do. He didn't do that, but George was a dear friend. George was very studious. Noosh, George had those gifts. He had those gifts, but George was fearful of failure because George wanted to be a lawyer in New York City. He wanted to get the bada bing, bada boom. He wanted to be that guy, that lawyer that everyone came to for miles around to say, this guy is representing me. After graduation, George and I drifted apart. And at our 20-year reunion, guess who was there? None other than George. Now I expected George to be clean cut, $1 million suit, driving up in a limousine, walking like he owned the place. But no, in fact, we didn't even recognize George. Why? Because George had long hair. George had a t-shirt on. Now this is a reunion. We're all in shirts and ties. George had a t-shirt on and jeans. George did not become that lawyer. George, in fact, became a street artist in New York City. Why? Because George realized through school, he was living his parents' dream. But George's purpose, which he found out during his time in college at Columbia University, that being a doctor or being a lawyer was not his purpose. It was, in fact, his parents. His why was not his parents' why. His why was helping people through art. Not in a gallery, not at the Met, not at the Metropolitan Opera House, but on the street. He wanted to inspire people with his drawings, with his paintings. Without saying a word, he let his pictures do the speaking. George's why was that he too, like the respondents last night, wanted to live a life of servant leadership, not through the spoken word, but through the painted picture. That was George's why. What about you? What is your why? Are you living on purpose? Or are you simply living? This is an advanced Toastmasters club. And I myself get around the Toastmasters universe. During the BC period before COVID, I visited approximately 20 clubs a year. But now that we're in this COVID environment, we're in this virtual world environment, why not visit as many clubs that we possibly can fit into our schedule? We know that there's over 16,000 clubs worldwide. We may not be able to visit 16,000 clubs, but why not visit as many as you can to fulfill your why? My why is to inspire others. I was born to do this thing. In fact, I would submit that many of you were born to do the same thing, perhaps through a different medium, but to fulfill the same purpose. But once you figure out what that why is, you have to then figure out what is your destination? How do you get there? It's a journey. Wendy, you took us on a journey earlier to China, to the Republic of China. And to answer your question, yes, I do want to take that trip to China after I visit the museum in Moscow. And Dr. Watkins, thank you so much for that table topics. That helped me think to myself about baking a cake. I'm not a baker. In fact, I'm a terrible cook. When I cook, my family runs away. But it made me realize that cooking badly is also part of my journey. As I would imagine, many of you, if not all, have something within that trail, within that path, that's going to lead you to your destination. But in order to get there, there's a few steps we must take. Number one, we must visualize what success means to us. And once we visualize that, we have to put all of our energy into fulfilling it. And as New said before, there will be failures. Life will punch you in the face. It will give you the gut punch, but it's up to all of us to bounce back from those punches to see another day, not to get discouraged, to embrace those gifts Noose talked about earlier, to see failure as a companion, because you're going to meet failure along the way. To visualize that success, figure out that why, figure out what your destination is, and figure it out by picturing it in your mind. See it, give it a name. See that light at the end of the rainbow and say to yourself, this will be mine. It will not be a happy trip. It will not be a trip without obstacles, without hurdles, without challenges. Esther, it will be a trip that will be filled with flaws, punches, and setbacks. But because we all are servant leaders in our own way, we will not let that stop us. Because of successful people, the difference between successful people and the unsuccessful is that we all face fears. But the successful people push through those fears. They don't let them stop them. There will be challenges. Sonia, you mentioned the fact that you had to make a choice. Joining this club, was it going to be worship or was it going to be Toastmasters? You decided that you were going to make a hard choice because the opportunity that presented you right now was to join this club. We're in a virtual world. Why not embrace the challenge right now? Tim Wilson, you challenged us all by giving us a different way of thinking about speeches. In fact, I'm going to quote from Jim Cathcart, world-renowned speaker, that says the goal, this is about speaking, the goal is not for the audience to say what a great speaker you are, but to say, I can do that. That, in fact, is our goal, whether we're speaking or whether we're living life, because servant leadership is about thinking about others. You mentioned about the I-you factor and making speeches about you and not about me. We here at One Country, One World, we understand that the audience is always thinking WIIFL. What's in it for me? Then why the heck should I even listen to you? I've got better things to do with my time. But we all have a purpose, and we all are making strives to live that purpose. But once you visualize it, we have to stop making excuses. How often do we hear, I can't attend that meeting because I'm Zoom fatigued? For crying out loud, I'm in Virginia, USA. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here. I got up at 6:30 to come to this meeting. I am no less busy than any one of you or anyone else in this Toastmaster universe, all 330 plus thousands of us. Tony Robbins is an internationally renowned thought guru. Tony has a session or event, a week-long event that he does every single year, at least BC, before COVID. And when he has all these thousands of people under his one roof on day one, he asks this question. If you work out 3 to 5 days a week, 3 to 5 or more days a week, I want you to stand and remain standing. And while these people are standing, everyone is looking up at them. Wow, you work out 3-4 times a week. Wow, that's amazing. And he asked this question. Are you any less busy than anyone else in the room? In unison, 100% of them, no, we're just as busy as everyone else. Well, how the heck can you figure out how to work out 3 to 5 or more days a week? How is that possible? Because it's important enough to us to put it in our schedules. They don't make excuses. Winners don't make excuses. And one country, one world, we're all winners. And winners are expected to model the behavior they want to see in others. Sarinka, this is for you. We want to model the behavior we want to see in others. And Sarinka, my challenge to you is drink more water, especially if there are young people in your lives. They will like and appreciate the fact that you were down in this wonderful glass or bottle of H2O. I don't know if that's your purpose, Sarinka, but model the behavior that you want to see in others. And one country, one world, Regina Davis, that doctor that walked into our club in Portsmouth, Virginia on October 30th, 2014, whose fingerprints are still embedded in our lectern because she was so nervous when she gave an icebreaker speech. They're still there. But Regina now gives lectures, gives seminars, and facilitates workshops all over the United States of America for her colleagues. Because Regina knew what her purpose was. She knew what destination it needed to be to get there. And lastly, Regina Davis, medical doctor, took action. And today, one country, one world. My challenge to you today is if you do not know what your purpose is, find it. Visualize that success. Don't make excuses and take immediate action. Whether you know what your purpose is or not, that is irrelevant. When you get a moment to yourself, take some quiet time, close your eyes and think, do I know what my purpose is? And most importantly, am I living my purpose? One country, one world, live your purpose, because there's only one of you. Madam Toastmaster.
Wow, thank you, Charles. Thank you so much. That's a huge basket of gifts for our members. All the bing bada bum bada boom. Is that how you say it?
Bada bing, bada boom.
Okay, that's a new language for me. And if we have one line to answer Charles' speech, what should we say? Yes, we can do it. We can find our purpose and be the servant leaders in our community. So I hope all our members get the message and take action to make our life even better and more impact into where we are living in. Thank you so much, Charles, again. Great round of applause for you.